So this is my final race log. It's video footage mostly taken by other people, like my friend Wolfram, of the race itself. Saturday morning, October 8th, the day we've been waiting for more than a year. It's about 6 o'clock. The first three vehicles are lined up. And here's Highlander taking off, the number one seated vehicle of the Carnegie Mellon University at 6:30 in the morning, doing a nice little swerve in the beginning and then just going off into the desert at really perfect kind of performance starting the race. Stanley has a little problem at the beginning, takes a little turn but recovers nicely, and then essentially does the same thing as Highlander and disappears into the desert. The course was given to us about 2.5 hours earlier at 4 o'clock. It's not a straight line, it's actually a very loopy course that basically starts and finishes in Prim. And DARPA made sure that the vehicles actually come by Prim so that they can be viewed as they're driving autonomously, and then pictures can be broadcast around the world. So there's an initial loop of about something like 17 miles or so, and the vehicles just emerge from there. Sandstorm, Carnegie Mellon's second vehicle, set number 3 in the starting position. People paid relatively little attention to Sandstorm, even though it ended up coming in second, which is quite remarkable, and only 11 minutes after us at Stanford. This vehicle, as we now understand, was programmed to go a little bit slower than Highlander, so that if both Highlander and Stanley failed, Sandstorm would be able to bring home a safe win. Terramax, down the line, a fairly heavy machine. This is one of the 5 machines that actually arrived in the end next to Team Gray. And they arrived after about 12 hours the next day, but it's really remarkable that they were able to navigate this machine through the desert. This is footage taken by DARPA, not by us. Stanley negotiating some sort of a turn somewhere. For most of us, we could only follow the race using an interface like this one from the web, where basically vehicles were being tracked. On the left side, the 3 dots that you see is Highlander first, second Stanley, and Sandstorm third. And you can see that at times Stanley gets really close to Highlander. At mile 102, the historic moment occurred where DARPA chose to stop Highlander and let Stanley pass it. This is footage from Stanley itself that we got access to after the race. And that's basically the passing going on in Stanley's own vision worldview. You can see how it swerves around the obstacle on the right side and then takes the lead in the race. At this point, this is laser data, same thing. You can see how Highlander is being scanned by Stanley, a very rare encounter of one robot building a model of another robot. And you can see there's about a meter safety distance, which we felt was sufficient for passing obstacles or stop vehicles. And Stanley then just goes off into the desert, and the rest, I guess, by now is history. This is footage that DARPA took of a pass called Beer Bottle Pass. It's a mountain pass, largely thought to be the most difficult part of the terrain. It's at the very end of the race, it's about 120 or so miles in, and the idea was that if vehicles aren't able to negotiate it, then at least DARPA could report a substantial improvement in total miles gone. Now it turned out that all 5 vehicles that entered Beer Bottle Pass exited without any problems. That's just an amazing result for all of us in the community, that we've been able to build 5 cars that went that far, and all of them were able to negotiate stuff like this. This is a really steep cliff on the right side here. Stanley cruises at the speed that's basically the maximum velocity legal for the specific mountain pass. So I think it's 10 or 15 miles an hour, I don't quite know. It's interesting to us, when we looked at this, we felt that this was actually a relatively easy mountain pass. We've trained certainly on much, much harder terrain than that. It's easy because the road itself is flat as a pancake. There's not really much stuff on there. There's no ruts. There's no vegetation, which really, really helps Stanley making its decision. And the other thing is, on the left side, there's actually quite a substantial berm. And that berm might look small on video, but it's actually big enough for Stanley to really see it. And to Stanley, the berm looks just like the wall on the right side. So there's almost no chance it could fall down the cliff unless there was a major bug somewhere that we didn't know about. But it was reassuring. You can imagine this was live footage in the tent. We could watch Stanley to be the first to traverse this mountain pass. The crowd was cheering. It was just a really amazing moment to see that this is possible. I think everybody was taken seeing Stanley and then the other 4 vehicles taking terrain like this. But half an hour later, just below 7 hours total, Stanley was the first to emerge from the desert. On the left, this is the official finishing line. You can see Tony Tether waving his flag as if the car could possibly see him and react to him. And then a few final meters just to make Stanley drive towards the crowd. You can see Stanley's own view on the right upper side. And the rest is really history. Stanley arrived first from the desert after 6 hours, 54 minutes. Even though it started second into the race, and the people, like this is a picture of Mike and me, were so incredibly happy, many of us, that we were able to get a car out of the desert this fast. This is the final ceremony. I think the important thing here is, I mean, we might have won, we got the $2 million check here, but it's really been us as a field that has been able to develop 5 vehicles that did this. And even though we were slightly faster, I think all of us did a fantastic job. I think it's really a joint victory for all of us.